All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. You know, after making like that hard decision on what e-bike you should purchase for you and your family, the second hardest decision is what kind of bike rack can I get to haul around these heavy bikes? And I know there are a lot of options out there, and most of these options are expensive, like super expensive. Okay. You know, from like 450 bucks all the way to 1,000. And that's a lot of money, but you also don't want to get something super cheap where you don't think it's going to hold up. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is the Young Electric Mate R, and I'm going to show you why it's going to be my number one rack when it goes to carrying my e-bikes back and forth. So let's get into it. I already have a Young Electric rack, and it holds a single e-bike. It's called the Soul. If you want to see a video on that, well, I did it. It's right here, and that way you can learn all about it. But if you have two bikes and you want to haul two bikes, well, you definitely want to look into the Mate R. And it's called R now because they've updated it, and now this one comes with a ramp. Well, actually, all their racks, the Soul and the Mate, now come with a ramp to help get your bike on the rack. The Young Electric Mate R weighs 75.9 pounds, and it can hold two 100-pound bikes. Currently, this rack sells for $389 and comes with a 1-year warranty. It is only available for 2-inch receivers. It has a patented front wheel cradle that can fit tires up to 5 inches wide. It also has scratch-resistant silicone straps. It also has adjustable sliders to ensure a perfect fit. This rack is 69.1 inches long and 41 inches deep. If you are wondering if it'll fit on your vehicle if you have a tire in the back, the length between the hitch and the cradle where the rack flips up is 18.3 inches. This is what you use to connect the rack to the hitch, and you will need a socket to do that. I use a different system because this just has this cotter pin right here, and it connects it to the car, but it doesn't really secure it so somebody could take your rack. Well, I have a better plan. I found a pin that fits within this rack that you can actually lock with a key. I went ahead and did a video on that, and you can take a look at that if you want. I will also leave a link to this locking pin in the description below. Besides Young Electric just adding a ramp so that you can load your bikes to this rack, well, they've made some other improvements as well. The connecting part between the ramp and the rack has been reinforced. The fixing straps of the standing rod shape has been changed to a U shape to make the seat tube fit more stably. The fixing straps for the wheels have been changed to a V shape to adapt to different wheel widths and to make the fixation more stable. 2 spacers were added to create extra friction to the connecting parts between the 2 standing rods for more stable fixation. This is the ramp to the rack. It slides in at the very end. When you slide it in, you connect it with this pin and this clamp right here by just sliding it through the hole and connecting it. Then when you want to use it, you unhook this little clamp right here and slide this out so that you can get access to the ramp. The ramp is 50 inches in length. Let me go ahead and show you how to load bikes onto this ramp. First, we're going to undo this clamp here on the cradle, and then we're going to do the one here for this back piece. And then when it comes to the standing rod, well, I just like to loosen it up and slide it completely off and put it right here. Then you just grab the ramp and put it right there. Now we are ready to put your bike up on the rack. You're going to line it up to your ramp. You're just going to roll it on there until it gets into this front cradle. Right there. At that point, I like to lift up my standing rod and connect the attachment piece. Go ahead and tighten it down. And now I can attach the bike to the standing rod right here and bring it in. Now we use our straps here and lock down the front tire and the rear tire. Now your bike is secure and it's not going anywhere. Before they came up with the ramp for this rack, this is how you used to get your bike on. You would just bring it backwards, hit the rear brake, the front end lifts up, you put it there, and then you would just go ahead, move these pedals out of the way, and stand it right up like that. If this was most bike racks, you would need an adapter rod to go here so that you could connect the bike to the frame. Or you would have to have a hook here on the front, which makes it difficult for those people who have bikes with fenders on the front and rear. But because this rack connects to the seat post frames, you don't need to purchase that bar at all. And that means everything stays with the rack. So this bike rack will accommodate many different styles of bikes. This is what it looks like when you put two average style e-bikes on the back. You know what? Now I'm curious to see what kind of bikes I can put here together side by side. There's 15 inches in between each one of these rails. So let's see if I can put a bike that has bags or baskets on it and see if you can put another bike on there as well. This is my Invanti cargo bike. And yes, it does fit on this rack. It is super close to the Adventure, but it does fit. These stick out really far for this cargo bike, so these actually touch right here. So I would end up putting something in between those, some kind of foam, and then zip tying it, and it would be good to go. Wouldn't do any damage to either one of these bikes. Now, maybe you don't have a traditional type bike that has a seat post. Maybe you have like a moped style e-bike. This rack is not rated to hold a moped, but it is rated to hold a moped style e-bike, which is under 100 pounds. I have a couple. Let's go ahead and put one on here and see how it works. As you can see, it is possible to put a moped style e-bike on here. Instead of just hooking it to the seat post, I just hooked it to the frame. It's a couple days later, and you know what? I figured, let me show you what these bikes look like when they're moving in a vehicle, because they do bounce around a little bit. I want to show you that that's normal and that it's totally okay. All right, guys, I think I've done a pretty good job of showing you that you are not limited to the type of bike that you can put on this rack. Now, if you are interested in the Mate R, well, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. I believe I also have a discount code that'll save you a little bit of money as well. I'm also going to leave links to other things like the sole version of this rack, also the locking pin that I have that connects the rack to the hitch, and I'm going to put all those things in the description down below. So I want to thank you for watching. And until I see you again, enjoy the ride.